Hello, I'm Kendra Ruth from The Hero Spouse, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of April 1st, 2021 and a date of marriage of 2004. She has a boomerang who is a high-energy replayer. She says, "My husband started abusing alcohol 15 months ago and moved out." So 15 months ago was after bomb drop. Bomb drop, we're almost at 2 years. So just as a note, he stopped drinking around us in the last 5 months and started reconnecting with the kids. But recently he started drinking heavily again, and he drove the kids drunk twice. I'm telling him that I can't let him drive the kids for a while, since they and I don't feel safe. Good, and that has to be a strong boundary, whether he gets it or not. But every time I set a boundary, he just blames me that I only want to control him. He doesn't understand what he's doing is wrong. How can I set a boundary and support the connection between him and the kids? So, you can do all of that, and you are. That doesn't mean he has to accept that you are supporting the connection. So he can still resist. He can still say, "You're controlling." He can still not get it. But that is an important enough boundary that whether he gets it or not, you have to set it. You have to figure out how to maintain it. You have to train your children what to do in that situation because they're going to be scared. Well, I'm with Dad and I don't want to upset him, so I'll just get in the car, or I'm already in the car. I mean, they're going to feel it backfires on them. Years ago, Chuck and I went to dinner with a friend in the friend's car. And then we were coming back, and he opened up a beer while driving, I think it was. Or maybe he did that on the way while we were in the car. And I said, once we got to the restaurant, I said, "We're not going back with him. We're not going." He was known to drink. And I think they might have had alcohol there. I told Chuck, "We're not going back. We're calling a cab." Did he forgive us later? Yeah. I mean, did we do something that needed forgiveness? No. I mean, Chuck was like, "Really? Come on, it'll be fine." But he did it. That was a line. He was probably too drunk by then. Once he was in the car, and then he was drinking. And then he went to a restaurant, probably had a beer there. And once I was in the car already, he opened the beer when we were already midway, and I was shocked. I set the boundary, and I didn't look back. You've got to set this boundary. It's your children. And you can do all of the, "Don't you get it? You should understand you're putting your kids' lives at risk," all that. Doesn't mean he's going to accept that or agree with it. So you are supporting the connection between him and the kids by trying to make it safe for them. And he doesn't have to accept that. And that's not the answer you want, because he can just be so resistant and angry and turn away and not see them. That might be his reaction to it. And every time you set a boundary, yes, this is very common with boundaries. They say you're trying to control him. You can say, "What do you say?" Excuse me. When he says that, let's say you're having an argument now. "You're just trying to control me." What is your response? Typically, our response is angry and arguing back. So let's think about some ways to respond in that. It doesn't mean he's going to accept it, but you still need to do it. Say, "I'm sorry you're feeling that way." So you've now validated. "I'm sorry you're feeling controlled. What I'm trying to do is maintain safety for our children." Now, I'm trying to speak on an even tone, not the angry, screaming tone. "I'm sorry." Doesn't mean he's going to respond. He's still in reactive mode. So when I give you scripts and things, it doesn't mean that they're going to, "Oh, now it's going to magically work and they're going to start talking to you logically." No, you do it anyway. When you have everybody in your household is freaking out, be the calm one. And it might take a lot and a long time for everyone else to follow suit. But how is it going to be if you continue screaming at him? then you're going to feel like you are controlling him even. So, and you know what? You can also say, I'm sorry you feel that way. But you and I both know, remember, just like I've said in other videos, we say you both know or you know rather than I think you know. You both know this isn't about control. In this case, I didn't say that's not what I'm doing. It's this isn't about control. And then this is what you and I both know it's about. And it's about safety for your children. It's about safety for everyone else on the road as well. This is about safety for our children. This is about not having you, safety for you. It's not having you on the road while you're drinking or drunk. But I can't stop you. I can come in and protect my children. I'm trying not to use the word control because I was going to say I can control what happens to them. You can't always. But my job is to protect our children. It's your job too. Your job is to protect them. And when you're drinking with them in the car, or when you're drunk with them and you're driving, you're not protecting them. And that's not fair to them. And I know you know that. Figure out, and that's it. That doesn't mean it's not magic. It's not going to solve everything. He's not going to accept that. So you have to accept that he is still going to resist. And sometimes when they don't resist, let's say, oh my God, you're right. Oh, what have I done? It goes in one ear, cycles around in there for a while. They acknowledge it, and then it still goes. The next week, he'll still do it. So just because they acknowledge it doesn't mean, oh, problem is solved. Chuck did that all the time. Oh, you have a good point. You're so right about that. It didn't mean he was ready to work on himself and change it. So I want you to understand, just because he might sometime acknowledge doesn't mean he's changing it either. Okay? Keep that boundary and any others that are protective like that as well. It's not easy. Okay? I hope this helps. And I'll see everybody else in the next question.